Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Maddie's Rap, the show where we rap about things that guys rap about when we're hanging out. I'm your host, author Matt D. Talford, author of a couple of award-winning books, From Fear to Faith, a survivor story, a story that will teach you how mindset can help you to overcome the worst of circumstances, and my most recent, Stuck in an Elevator. All right, so I won't go into any more detail about those books because today I want to jump into a topic that is pretty near and dear to my heart right now. I mean, it's something I've been looking into for a minute now. And before we get into today's topic, I would like to thank those of you who are returning subscribers. I've heard you. A lot of you have hit me up in the comments, and not comments, but you've hit me up in Messenger, Facebook Messenger, and Instagram Messenger, and said, Matt, and some of you text messages, Matt, where's the videos? You haven't done any in a while. No, I haven't done any videos in a while. Sometimes you get on a roll and then life happens, and you gotta adjust. You gotta brace yourself, slip a few punches, and then come back out shooting. So that's kind of been my life over the last four or 5 weeks or so. So no, I haven't done anything, on a regular basis, but we're back. So let me get past that. So today's topic is going to be, believe it or not, astrology. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. You're like, okay, Matt, you do a lot of scripture edition stuff. You're always talking about the scripture, talking about the power of scriptures, and talking about the Most High and God and blah, blah, blah. Where does astrology come in? I'm glad you asked that question, all right? Because by the end of this video, what you're going to understand is that if you know what you're looking at in scripture, you know that the scripture is chock full of astrology and numerology, all right? And matters that are ethereal and, what's the word I'm looking for? Not just ethereal, but of a spiritual nature. So, if you grew up in church your whole life like I did, and, my earlier years and even early into my adult years, you get sort of a religious programming, all right? But you don't get a lot of education in topics that are spiritual, all right? There's not a whole lot of teaching of spirituality. Either that or it's misconstrued. Now, you need to understand that the true power in the scripture lies in understanding the allegories and the metaphors. So that is a lot of what I've been doing lately. If you haven't seen it, please check out my 1 Peter 1 Decoded video. That video I kind of introduce you into, and there's some other ones I've done, like 333 Israelite Awakening. Listen, the scripture is full of spirituality, numerology, and even some astrology. But if you don't know what you're looking at, you're never going to see that, and then you're going to have to listen to some pastor demonizing things that are the real power in scripture, which is understanding what you're looking at. Now, let me get off of that because I can hear my wife's voice in my ear saying, "You don't have to explain yourself to nobody," and my mom too. So let me get on past that because I'm not trying to explain myself. I'm just trying to help you guys to understand, overstand, outerstand, and understand. All right, now here we go. Astrology. A lot of us, let me use consumer purchases for an example. A lot of us purchase things. We might purchase technology. We might purchase a kitchen appliance. You might purchase, you might even purchase a piece of furniture that you need to put together. And what you find in each one of those situations is that they all come with an instruction manual, all right? But a lot of us go through our lives stumbling and stammering about and spending decades trying to figure out who we are and how we need to interact with people and situations because we don't understand that we also come with an instruction manual, all right? Now, for any pastors out there watching this, they're probably going to say, yeah, the instruction manual is the Bible. The Bible is an instruction manual. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I talk about the scriptures are just pretty much 3 things. It is the history of a certain people. I'm not going to get into that. Watch my videos. It is a code of conduct for certain people. I'm not going to get into that. Read some of my videos. Or watch some of my videos. Read some of my blog posts. And then it is also a book of prophecy concerning a certain people and even the world to a degree. So yeah, to that end, it is an instruction manual. However, you have a personal instruction manual that is going to be different for you It's going to be different for me. It's going to be different for your friends, your family. Everybody's got their own unique instruction manual. The scriptures are universal, but you have a unique instruction manual. What is that unique instruction manual, Matt? It is the understanding of your own personal astrology. What is your personal astrology? Your personal astrology has everything to do with your birth chart. And your personal numerology has everything to do with your date of birth, all right? And I don't by any stretch of the imagination consider myself a numerologist or a numerology teacher or an astrology teacher for that matter. I can only tell you what I know, all right? So, getting on into that, your personal instruction manual has everything to do with your date of birth, your time of birth, and your place of birth. All of those three elements combine to form your what's called a natal chart or a birth chart. Natal or birth, okay? Means the same thing, kind of. Anyway, when you understand the write-up for who you are, your own energy, okay, then it can help you to navigate through this life. Again, a lot of us we stammer through relationships, and I'm talking relationships because why? If you came to this earth and you were the only person here, that birth chart wouldn't really be all of that important because you're not interacting with anybody else. But because we weren't created or born to be by ourselves, we need to understand who we are. We also need to understand who the people are that we deal with. Okay? So, you're not going to have access to everybody's birth chart, and to that end, you don't even need to know that, to be honest. But if you know just a couple of critical elements about the people that we interact with, primarily the sun sign, because when it comes to astrology, everybody pretty much knows what their sun sign is. What's your sign? That's your sun sign, okay? But did you know that you also have a moon sign? Did you know that you have houses? Everybody's got 12 houses that break down, that are particular to, who you are based on your time of birth, okay? And where you were born. And the date of birth, okay? Did you know that you have what's called a north node and a south node? Did you know you have something called an ascendant, okay? There's so many different elements to your personal astrology that can help you to navigate through this life and help you to interact with people in the best possible way that you can, so that you can get through to what is your life's mission and what you came to this earth to do. So, all right, I'm gonna skip past the introduction. That's pretty much enough of that. I could go on and on about that, but again, I don't consider myself an expert on it. But I'm here to show you, and primarily those of you who have a similar background to me, that you came up in the church, you came up in the scriptures, and you have people that have separated you from what I consider to be your power, which is an understanding. They say knowledge is power, and you also hear knowledge of self or know thyself. Well, guess what? If you don't understand that you have an instruction manual that is unique to you, then how can you know yourself? All right. The knowledge of who you are is power in your own life. Okay. Knowledge is power is general. But I'm going to get specific and tell you that knowledge of who you are is even more power, okay? So, I'm going to talk just about a couple things, and I'm going to get off this. Primarily, the scripture. Let's go to the scripture first, all right? If you look in Genesis 1 and 14, matter of fact, let me pull that up on my tablet over here, all right? Genesis 1 and 14. All right, Genesis 1 and 14 in the King James Version says, "And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years." Okay, what are those lights? The sun, the moon, and the stars. Okay, now there's one thing I want to particularly focus on there, and that is signs. What is a sign? Glad you asked. Okay, the dictionary definition of signs, and this is the Farlex dictionary. I'm going to type this in here. Sign. What is a sign? Now I can give you a general description of it. Well, let's see. A sign is something that suggests the presence or existence of a fact, condition, or quality. For example, let's deal with a street sign. Or let me go general. A sign. A sign is something that lets you know where you are. Okay? It's an indicator. All a sign is an indicator. Your blood pressure reading is a sign. It's an indication of what your blood pressure is. A street sign is an indication for what street you're on. All right? A restaurant sign or a business sign is an indication that lets you know what is on the other side of that door. What type of business is this? Is this an office supply business? Is this a furniture store? Is this a restaurant? Or is this a place that just serves coffee? All right. A sign on a bathroom tells you, is this a ladies' bathroom or is this a men's bathroom? Okay. A sign is just an indication that gives you knowledge of something that you would not have known without it, unless you stumbled into it, of course. But we're not gonna get into that. All right. So now you take that word sign and you go back to the scripture again. It says, "And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons and for days and for years." Okay. So now with that in mind, understand that those things that we look up at, the sky, the stars, that the things that the astrologers use are for signs. Now, we all know the story of the birth of the Messiah. We all have heard ad nauseum the story of the three magi that came to visit him and give him gifts. How did these magi know where he was going to be? Did somebody say, hey, did they have GPS? Actually, they did. They used to use astrolabes back then, all right? That's how they found their direction and all of this stuff. So, but I'm not going to get into that. Nobody tipped them on the shoulder and said, hey, man, go down to the city of blah, blah, blah on blah, blah, blah street on this street number, and this is where you're going to find this child that was born. They were guided there by their knowledge of the stars. Also, their knowledge of astrology. When you know astrology can foretell of certain events that were coming. Now, what you need to know is that the ancients were way better at it than we are today, and we have technology helping us, and they were still better at it than we are. Okay, so they knew where he was because of the astrology. They knew how to find him. They weren't just out there like, hey man, let's throw these gifts on the back of this donkey and roll out. And then if we find somebody being born, we're gonna just drop these gifts on the parents. Say, yo, get these to the kids. I don't know what this kid is, but he's gonna be, special one day. Nah, that's not how that happened. Okay, signs. All right. So that's scripture. There's some other stuff in the scripture that, in fact, there's a guy named Ron Dalton Jr. that did a video that you can see on Vimeo on demand called "The Curses of Israel," and this is not, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but in that video there's a segment where there's a brother breaking down the numerology of the scripture and shows you how if you understand numerology, you have a deeper insight into prophecy. And in fact, the numerology supports the prophecy and tells you, yeah, you know what? This is going to happen because not just because it was written, but it's also in the numbers. So this stuff is fascinating. You need to understand that these are nothing but tools. All right. So let me keep it moving because I wanted to talk about relationships and get off of this. All right. From a relationship standpoint, again, interacting with others, when we understand ourselves, then we understand what our how we're going to get along with other people, how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about certain things that occur in life. Listen, I can go on and on, but for you to understand this yourself, you're going to have to read it for yourself. And in the description, I will include a link to a website where it's a natal chart calculator, and it's what I use to pull my own. So you understand yourself first. Now, relationships. I hear a lot of people that struggle in relationships and they're like, man, I just keep running into the same type of person and, it's just not working out and blase, blah. Well, you need to understand that there's some astrology in there that can help you to find the right people or avoid the wrong people. Watch this, okay? Let's talk about the signs, all right? We know that there are 12 zodiac signs, all right? Those 12 zodiac signs are divided into 4 different elements, okay? There are three zodiac signs, and when I'm saying signs, I'm talking to sun sign. Well, it could be your moon sign too, but this is typically talking about your sun sign, all right? There are 3 zodiac signs within each element. So let's talk about what those are. You've got your earth signs. I'm an earth, so I'm going there first, all right? You've got Capricorn, that's an earth. You got Virgo, that's an earth. And you got Taurus, that's an earth, okay? And then you got 3 water signs. You got Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, okay? Then you have 3 air signs. You've got Aquarius, you got Gemini, and you got Libra. And then you've got 3 fire signs. You got Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius. Now watch this. With those 4 different signs, if you group them into 2s, 2 of them Those groups complement each other. Watch this. Earth and water complement each other. How does that work? Earth is made fertile by water. When you mix water and earth, you get fertile soil. Okay. On the flip side, earth provides vital nutrients to water. All right. You need the nutrients sitting in the earth. Okay. So you can provide vital nutrients to water, but those nutrients come from the earth. So earth nourishes water. It also cleanses water, right? So if you got running water, you got a stream, you got running water, then anything that's impure in that water, it goes out into the earth that is on the sides that borders that water. Okay, so you got a shore, you got a shore. If you got running water, let's say you got a river or a stream, any impurities always work their way out to the edges and they get absorbed by the earth. And so the earth cleanses that water. All right, so earth cleanses and nourishes water. Water nourishes and fertilizes earth. It makes the soil fertile. Now, the flip side, you got air and fire. Fire is fueled by air, okay? Fire is fueled by air, and then air, the temperature of air is regulated by fire. So if you don't have enough fire, you got cold air. You got fire, you got warm air. So those two go together. Now, if you take fire and mix it with water, what happens? You got too much water on a fire, it extinguishes it. All right. You got too much fire on water, it turns that water into vapor. It vaporizes it and makes the water disappear. Same with earth. You take earth, you dump earth on top. You got too much earth, you dump it on a fire. You extinguish the fire. If you have too much fire on earth, then it scorches the earth. It burns up all of the vegetation, all of the nutrients, all of that get destroyed by the fire. So fire and earth don't mix. Fire and water don't mix. Air. You got air on earth, too much air, what it does is it blows and disperses the earth. Okay? If you got a whole lot of earth with air, what does it do? It repels the air. This is why you see people that are out in the cold, one of the things, survival tactics they do, they dig a little small trench or a hole or whatever and get down in it and cover themselves. Because now they can get warmth from the earth and the earth repels that air. All right? So cave, same thing. That cave is earth. You cold, you got the wind blowing, go inside the cave, now that air can't hit you. You see what I'm saying? So air and earth don't go together. Now, you got air can build air, but it is complemented by fire, and vice versa. Fire can build fire, but it is complemented by air. Earth can build earth, but it is complemented by water. Water builds water, but it is complemented by earth. So once you understand those principles, then you're like, okay, well, I'm an earth sign. I probably shouldn't be entering into a romantic relationship with somebody who is in air or a fire. And you know what? I've heard people, you tell the stories, you ask the people, man, I'm struggling in this relationship. What's the first thing you ask them? You ask them what's their sign, what's that person's sign? You're like, oh, that's why it's not working. They didn't understand their astrology, okay? So then you flip it and you're like, hey, you see two people that are getting along great, whatever. They're in complementary, their signs are complementary. Now there's a further breakdown in there because you got what's called a cardinal sign, or cardinal element, element or sign. You got cardinal, you got fixed, and you got mutable. Okay, if you got two fixed, they're gonna butt heads a little bit. You got two cardinals, they're gonna butt heads a little bit. You got two mutables, they're gonna butt heads a little bit. They can make it work, but if you've got a fixed, then you got a fixed sign. That fixed sign is best complemented by a cardinal or a mutable, and vice versa. So you can mix and match there within those matching elements. All right. So that's the astrology of relationships. Okay. Once you understand that, then you understand how those things can help you understanding a little bit, understanding your full instruction manual, which is your personal astrology, your birth chart, and then understanding just enough that you need about the other person that you might be engaging with. Now, these same things apply in business relationships or whatever have you. My wife bought a book titled, I think it's called The Astrology of You and Me, but it breaks down the 12 zodiac signs and tells you, hey, based on the type of relationship, is this an employee? Is this a boss? Is this a potential lover, boyfriend, whatever, girlfriend? Is this a spouse? Is this an ex? Okay, it breaks down all of those different things and tells you, is this a child, is this a parent, whatever. It tells you how to deal with that person based on what their zodiac sign is. I found it fascinating because, and this is the other thing, for those of you that want to dismiss this or say this is the devil's work, How can it be so accurate? How can it be so accurate? You see, the thing you have to, and this is a bit of an aside, but the thing you have to understand is that everything in life is a tool, and the thing that makes it good or evil is the intent that goes into it. All right? Is a rock evil in and of itself? No. It's a tool. You can use it to crack something open. You can use it to shore up something. You can use it to build a foundation. You can collect them to build a fire pit. You can build roads with rocks, whatever. Okay? You can build walls with rocks, whatever. But you can also take a rock and do what Cain did to Abel, right? It was the intent. It wasn't the rock in and of itself. A knife. A knife can be used to cut something that you need cut, or it can be used for, malicious purposes. So everything is about the intent. It's not the thing itself. It's more the intent. Remember that, all right? So now let's get on. Let's keep this thing moving, because I'm going to wrap this up. Let's keep this thing moving. We got, for example, so that was talking about the astrology of dealing with people in different types of relationships, not just romantic or whatever. You need to understand how these things interact. If you're a boss, you need to understand that there are times when you're probably going to have employees that don't have complementary sun signs with yours. So you need to understand, hey, what makes this person tick? What motivates this person? What sets this person off? These are things you need to understand. Same thing if you're an employee. What's going to make my boss tick if they're a sign that's not complementary to mine? What's gonna set them off? This is going to help you to keep doing the things that are positives in your chart, and how to protect yourself from being put into a bad situation by the things that are negative in your chart. Everybody's birth chart has positive aspects and negative aspects. You won't know that until you read your own birth chart. And again, there's a link in the description on how to do this. All right. So the other thing I want to talk about is something that I'm just learning about. I don't fully know how to read it yet, but I'm just learning about it. It's called synastry. 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 Synastry is incredibly important if you're going to enter into a long-term romantic, if you will, husband-wife type, whatever, relationship with someone. You need to see if you guys have good synastry or if you don't. You can't know that unless you have a synastry calculator, and unless you know the date of birth, time of birth, and place of birth of yourself and your potential partner or your partner. Okay? When you look at that and you look, these things are so mind-blowingly accurate. It's going to blow your mind if you haven't really looked into this stuff. If you haven't looked at your own birth chart, it's going to blow your mind. Okay? When you look at it, you're like, hey, you know what? And some of you that are in relationships, you can use that synastry to. It's going to verify the things that you guys do great together already. You're like, wow, how does this thing know that? That's your instruction manual. It is the manual. Listen, you came down to earth. Understand that. Understand that. You came down to earth. Where did you come from? Your soul is eternal. All right? And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to get ready to wrap this up, because this could easily be a part 2. And maybe I'll do something collectively with some friends of mine that are into this as well. Maybe we'll do a video where we're collaborating and we're just sharing our ideas or whatever. I don't know yet. But for now, this is we'll just call this a part 1, because this is a lot to break down and get into. Instruction manual coming down. Right, you came down to earth. Your soul is eternal. Your soul is eternal. I challenge to a few friends of mine. I asked them, I say, what is your sign? They might say Capricorn. I'll use myself. I'm a Capricorn, okay? Well, Matt, why are you a Capricorn? If I didn't know, I'd be like, well, I'm a Capricorn because I was born in Capricorn season. All right, Matt, you're a Capricorn, you're born in Capricorn season. All right, you're a Capricorn because you were born in Capricorn season. What are you? Oh, I'm an Aquarius. You're an Aquarius. Why are you an Aquarius? Well, because I'm an Aquarius because I was born on February, whatever. Okay? Now, my challenge is that you are not a Aquarius or Capricorn or whatever your sign is because of when you were born. I would challenge that your soul energy is that Aquarius, that Capricorn, that Virgo, that Libra, whatever. Your soul energy is that, and because of that, you can only be born in that window. You're only going to come to earth in that window because that is your eternal energy. That is my theory on it. I think that if you're a Capricorn in this life, you were a Capricorn in all your past lives, and you're going to be a Capricorn in any future iterations of yourself. This is who you are. It's almost like a football player. You get a football player, he comes up, he's a running back in college, high school, college, he gets drafted into the NFL as a running back. Guess what? It doesn't matter if he gets drafted by the Detroit Lions and gets traded to the Arizona Cardinals. He's still going to be a running back because he's a running back. That quarterback, he's going to be a quarterback because he's a quarterback. That wide receiver, doesn't matter what team he goes and plays for, he's a wide receiver. That place kicker, he's not going to leave. He's not going to get drafted by the New York Giants as a place kicker and then end up getting traded to the Dallas Cowboys and play linebacker. It doesn't work like that. He's not a linebacker. He's always going to be a place kicker, whatever team he goes to. That is my theory on how your sun sign works. Now, I'm not going to get into sun sign, moon sign. I'll probably do that stuff in another video. I want to go ahead and wrap this up. But I want you to, the key takeaway here is that you come with an instruction manual. And the last thing I'll touch on, I saw a video by a YouTuber by the name of Christina Lopes years ago, where she was breaking down the difference between North Node and South Node. And in a nutshell, your North Node is the direction you need to be moving into in life. This is an area of challenge areas that you need to overcome in this life. Your South Node is overdeveloped characteristics. These are things that you did in your last life. You brought them forward with you, and you're good at them. And you're gonna, if you stay in your South Node energy, you're never going to develop because your North Node is 6 degrees opposite. Okay, so if your North Node is 12 o'clock, your South Node is 6 o'clock. You can't get to 12 o'clock by keeping a hand on 6. All right. Maybe I'll find that video and put a link to it in there. But one of the things that she said that was key was she said that her whole life changed when she learned what her North Node was and embraced it and started operating in it. Okay, moving forward. Okay, moving forward. There's even a scripture that kind of touches on that a little bit. Forgetting those things which are behind, I press forward toward the mark of the high calling. Okay, what is that high calling? All right, what is that high calling? The last thing I wanted to mention has to do with, there's another scripture. I told you I was going to touch a little bit of scripture in this. And this doesn't have to do with astrology. This is more about soul energy and chakras, all right? Because some people think that that's the devil's work too. But everybody has 7 primary chakras, okay? Your root chakra is number 1. Your sacral chakra is number 2. Your solar plexus chakra is number 3. Your heart chakra is number 4. And there's heart chakra, evidence of heart chakra in scripture all throughout the Bible. I'm not going to get into them right now. But heart chakra number 4. Your 5th chakra is your throat chakra, number 5. Number 6 is your third eye chakra. And number 7 is your crown chakra. Of those 7 chakras, 3 are masculine, 3 are feminine. Your masculine chakras, your root, your solar plexus, and your throat. Your feminine chakras, your sacral, your heart, and your third eye. All right. And then that 7th chakra, your crown, that is your connection back to the ether or the heavens, if you will. Okay. So I'm going to touch on this. I'm going to get off of here. Walk in the spirit, and you will not fulfill the lust or the desires of the flesh. Watch this. Your fleshly desires, your lusts or whatever, they tend to live in those lower chakras. Your root chakra, your sacral chakra, pretty much your sacral chakra, okay? And you start getting up, you can, if you're not careful, that can bleed over into your 4th or your heart chakra, and then you desiring something here that's lower chakra instead of upper chakra, because it's the middle. That heart chakra is the midpoint, right? You got 3 below it and 3 above it. That heart chakra number 4, that's the midpoint, and that is the most powerful of all of the chakras that have to deal with your earthbound or your physical aspect. That 7th chakra, that's your communication, all right? That's gender neutral. That's neither male nor female. But anyway, if it says walk in the spirit, that's your 7th chakra. You open that up and say, hey, listen, I want to open my chakra, my 7th chakra, to receive messages and receive instruction from the higher power for some of you, okay? Whatever you choose. I don't get into what somebody wants to call God or what somebody wants to call. I prefer to call him truth. God is a generic title that you can apply to many things, including yourself, myself. But truth, that truth is absolute, is indomitable, is undefeated throughout all time. So I prefer to call him the spirit of truth. All right. So, but I'm not going to get off. I'm getting off into a tangent. When you're walking in the spirit, you don't fulfill the lust of the flesh. How does that work? That works because you're saying, hey, you know what? I want to receive truth. I want to receive truth. I want to receive truth. I want to receive righteousness and instruction to me. All right. When that is your intent, then we're all going to hit it. Right. Watch this. It didn't say walk in the spirit and you won't experience the lust of the flesh. It said you won't fulfill them. 2 very fundamentally different words. You can walk out your house and see something that's going to tempt you, whatever that might be. Everybody's got different temptations. All right. It could be physical. It could have to do with food. It could have to do with alcohol, drugs, whatever. Everybody has different temptations. All right. But it says if you walk in the spirit, if you walk with the intent of, hey, I want to receive righteous instruction and I'm going to follow that righteous instruction, then you don't fulfill those other lower chakra type of desires, right? You don't fulfill the lust of the flesh when you walk in the spirit. But when you're not walking in the spirit, you close that off. You're like, look, I don't want no instruction. I don't want to do that. Then you're more likely to fulfill that, all right? Listen, you got to understand, the scripture said, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected knowledge, I will reject you, and you will be no priest to me. Listen, there are people who are pushing religion, have pushed religion on the world for well over 1,000 years, and they have this knowledge, but they don't want you to know it, okay? Because that's freedom. That's freedom. Once you know, you're free, all right? All right? Once you know, you're free. They don't want you free. Religion is the doctrine of control. So what they do is they doctor the scriptures and they break it down and give you these high energy sermons and whatnot that get you feeling good, but it's a sandwich with no meat in it. All right? It's a plate with no vegetables on it if you're a vegan or whatever. All right? All right? It's empty. It's empty calories. You go in church, you come out, oh, whoa, man, we had a time today. And you come out and you're still dealing with the same problems. Why? Because you don't have the knowledge. You don't have the righteous knowledge. You don't have the knowledge of how to apply what's in that scripture. Because number one, they're not showing it to you. Number two, you don't know yourself because you don't know your instruction manual. I'm gonna wrap this up. Your instruction manual is your personal astrology, your personal numerology. I didn't touch on numerology a lot, but you can look up some stuff on Life Path. Your life path is pretty much going to be the addition of the numbers in your date of birth. You know, MMDD and then YYYY. So your month, the day, and the years. You add all of those numbers up and you keep reducing it until it gets down to 0. So if your number, for example, your total number, let's say example is number 27, then you can break that down by adding the 2 and the 7 and you got a 9. Okay. So that will be your life path number. You go and look up, okay, what is my life path? It's going to tell you a lot about yourself. It's going to tell you a lot about your purpose, all right? You got to understand your personal astrology and your personal numerology because that is your instruction manual for this and for this life and this time that you're living in, all right? I hope this video helped you guys. I'll throw some links in the descriptions below to different YouTubers' videos that have helped me to understand a lot more about myself and understanding my own personal instruction manual, which is my numerology and my personal birth chart. And listen, plug yours in and watch it. If you're struggling in some area, midheaven. Shout out to my man Myron if you're watching this video. Myron is big on midheaven. Why? Your midheaven or your 10th house is what is going to tell you, hey, you know what? If you're struggling in this career, and that career, and that career, well, it's because you don't understand your astrology. Look at what your 10th house reading is. Your 10th house is going to tell you what type of career you're going to thrive in, all right? What type of career is going to be best for you based on your own personal makeup, your own energy and soul makeup, who you are. This is the type of career that you need to be in alignment with. A lot of people struggle in careers because they're not in alignment with what their soul's mission is, because they don't understand their 10th house. They don't understand their personal numerology, all right? So I'll put some links in here. You can check this stuff. You can look it up, but you got to know your date of birth, your time of birth, and your place of birth. Okay. Once you understand those, you can start to get ahead and turn things around for yourself if you've been struggling. And listen, for those of you that want to, I'm not worried about y'all. If this doesn't resonate with you, then just keep it moving. Just keep it moving. It ain't for everybody. All right. The Messiah spoke in parables. Why? Because it wasn't for everybody. It was only for those that could hear it. That's why he spoke in parables. All right. Listen, man. I love you guys. Hey, check out my work. I'm an author, award-winning author, so you're gonna enjoy what I've written. I don't see how you can't. The reviews say you will, all right, but maybe you won't. I don't know. I don't want to come off as arrogant, but I know what I'm good at. All right. Trust me, because I know my personal instruction manual. All right, I've studied it. Anyway, and it shows me that I'm actually moving in alignment with my purpose anyway, even before I even knew anything about astrology or numerology, and I still don't consider myself experts on them. But it is just confirmed for me that I'm moving in the right direction in my own life. I want you to move in the right direction in yours. If you're struggling and you don't know your personal astrology and numerology, then it's time that you learn that. And get out of, as my man Thoughts, Camera, Action says, churchianity. All right? All of that stuff is the doctrine of control. You need to understand that a lot of this stuff is scripture-based. You have to know how to read scripture and decipher what's in there. All right? I'm the first person to tell you I love scripture. I eat it. But I also understand what I'm looking at, understand what I'm reading. Tell somebody you love them and mean it. How do you mean it? You show it. If you're new to the channel, please consider hitting subscribe if you like this material. I'm going to be getting back on some scripture, but I was moved to share this with you guys. I hope it blesses you in some way, shape, or form, because somebody out here needed to hear it. Somebody out there needs to hear it. Somebody needed to hear it. And I know you guys heard me talk about past lives and your next life or whatever. Reincarnation is in scripture too. Understand that, all right? Reincarnation is in scripture too. So people talk about, oh, you talked about past life. Oh, that's the devil's work. We're all going to die and go to heaven. No. When you exit this vehicle, because your energy doesn't die. When you exit this vehicle, you return to the ether, okay? You return to the realm of souls. You can call it heaven if you want, whatever you want to call it. It is the realm of souls. That is where you get your assignment. That is where you get graded on your last assignment, all right? Hopefully you don't have to do the same thing twice. Hollywood knows this stuff. This is why they keep showing you these movies like Infinite that came out this year. Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise. They show you, listen, whatever your soul assignment is, and there's another video I recommend you watch if you haven't seen it. It is called Soul Contracts, The Life We Chose Before Birth. I will put that in the links below. And listen, y'all get up on this stuff because this is going to help you. We're living in an age, the age is flipped, okay? All right? Even talked about age, all right? He talked about the ages, and he wasn't talking about 30-something years old, all right? He was talking about the age, where we are in existence, all right? You heard me say this in another one of my videos. What is time to an eternal being? Time does not exist, only purpose. If you don't fulfill your purpose, you got to do it again till you get it right. Me, I don't like doing anything twice. So that's the advice I would give to you. While you got breath in your body, get it right. Find out what your purpose is in this life and fulfill it so that you can move on and get a new purpose so you don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over again, all right? We're eternal beings, all right? We are. Don't let any pastor tell you you're not. Don't let any pastor tell you you're going to die and, quote unquote, go to hell, or you're going to die and go to heaven if you're a good person. Meanwhile, they filling up the coffers, flying around living the life that you wish you could live. Yeah, I said it. You don't like it, drop it in the comment, pastor. Just saying, all right? Get it right. If you're doing it wrong, you need to get it right. I'm out, y'all, because I can go on and on with this. But again, tell somebody you love them and mean it. If you're new to the channel, you like this material, again, please consider hitting the subscribe button. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And more importantly, share it. And if you got something that you want to leave in the comments, I would love to hear it. I respond to as many comments as I can. So I would love to hear what you guys are saying. If not for me, for anybody else that might watch the video. I myself, even when I'm not recording YouTube videos and posting them, I'm watching other people's videos and trying to be active in the comments because we learn so much from each other, so much more than we can just from one person talking on a video. All right, y'all, that's it for me. Peace.